guys interested?
Oh man, yeah, I'm definitely not that cool. I ain't getting on no bull. I'm not. I'm terrified. Terrified.
What about the electric bowl?
Oh, like at like country bars?
Yes, like
I mean,
what's it called? The Rose, the Grizzly Rose.
Yeah, they had one when I lived down in Phoenix. I don't even remember the country bar. It was on Mill Avenue. This is a different life for your guy. But I ain't gonna lie about it. I have partaken. I have been on the bull.
Me too. It's fun.
It's, at the time, you got some liquid courage in you. It's a little bit fun.
That's a must. That is a must.
Is this what our live is going to be about today? Just our horrendous past? Hope my wife's not on this one today.
Oh my gosh.
She'll friggin' not enjoy. Anyhow, cheerio. Welcome in.
Top of the morning.
Whether you're watching it live, which is fantastic because we answer your questions live, or if you're watching this later, so happy that you're joining us and can't wait to keep rocking these. These are a ball. Plus, I get to hang with my guy Jay.
Whoop whoop.
It's always a good time. All right, well, why don't we just hop right in?
Let's get right into it.
Question number 1 coming at you.
All right, Duncan DeFino.
Duncan, awesome. I'm excited to answer this question.
This might answer quite a few questions.
Nice.
Maybe this will answer Charles already in the live chat.
All right.
Hey guys, can you elaborate on the pelvic drop and weight shift in transition? Hitting massive draws, hooks, and get caught hitting behind the ball, fat shots. Realizing my low point is way back, I'm struggling to understand the drop with the pelvis while shifting my weight forward. If I feel like I drop my pelvis back and still get caught with a low point that is behind the ball. Thanks again for all the information you post.
Beautiful. All right. Don't worry, I didn't run away.
He ran from the question.
Heck with this question. I'm out. Good luck. All right, so let me try to paint this picture here because this is really important. So I think the best way to go about this is, at the end of the day, the pelvis and the lower body, so from my L spine all the way down, so my pelvis, my legs, my feet, and blah, is all there to support what my intention in the chest is. Okay, so this supports this. My chest supports the arms, hands, and club, and its delivery throughout the course of the golf swing. So it's like that progression. This supports this supports that. So I think let's almost reverse engineer this, and I'll get to the pelvis at the very end here. Okay, is it Dennis?
Yes.
Dennis.
Duncan, sorry.
Duncan, I'm sorry, Dennis, Duncan. Okay, so here we go. If I've got, like, in general, this is a portion of the bottom of the arc. Okay, and from down the line, in essence, what we want the bottom of that arc to look like is generally in there. That's pretty neutral. Okay. If you're a drawer of the ball, the path might look a little bit this way. If you're a cutter of the ball, it might look a little bit this way. But in general, we want the club head to just be cruising along this path. Okay. So in order to do that, and let me actually try to make this more 3D-ish as well, with an iron right there. See how I'm going like down, 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 ball, down, down, bottom out, up, up. That's the look, okay? So if I'm gonna do that, really what we want are the arms to more or less be firing out of the chest. Out of the chest is this way. Like if I'm backhanding a door, I'd be right here. And also notice as well here, folks, like what I'm looking to do, this arm is adducted across me and I'm going boom. It finishes right here perpendicular to my shoulder line. So if I spiraled all the way up into my finish, I would look right here and then I could fold, and this looks like a traditional finish that we would see out of most players that are playing for a living. So what I'm looking to do, by the time I get into delivery, which is roughly P5, P5.5, somewhere in there, is I need to get my chest organized relative to the golf ball so that I can fire my arms in that manner. So I'm taking this arm, see how like if I adduct this lead arm, we'd call this loaded. This whole posterior arm line is loaded. So if I unload it, I've also got the golf club hinged, right? So I have some amount of radial. I have some amount of flexion, most likely, in the lead hand. This is all posterior arm line. So if I flex here in this lead wrist, then I'm gonna load up that arm line. So this whole arm line, hand, lead arm, golf club, all leveraged loaded. So now if I unload it, I'm unloading here and I'm unloading here. Boom, that's the hit. So if I'm gonna do that, if I'm just taking a look at like, okay, how would this just generally make sense for that hit to be organized like around this golf ball? If my trunk looks this way and I hit this way, this doesn't make any sense, because now, see what this arc is gonna look like? If I go bump, where's my bottom out? It goes down, down, bottom out, up, 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 ball. Doesn't make sense. If I have my trunk look more this way, oh, down, 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 ball, bottom out, down, down, bottom out, up, up, up. Makes sense. Look at where my trunk is in space. So if you move the pelvis this way, my trunk looks this way. So if I fired out of my chest, I would bottom out here and then climb. That's why with players that do this, we'll have this like pelvic shove, pelvic rotation, this traps back. Now the lead arm will lower and externally rotate to find that bottom out and to square the club. So it's this hit with the lead arm. Okay, and again, the intention here is more this way. This is like the most stable hit. See, if I do this, like look at what that club does every time. It's super, super passive in its rotation. If I have more internal, external rotation, like active here, pronation and supination active here, look at how flimsy the club face is. It's just going woo, 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 like down at the bottom. So it's not stable that way because of what the arms have to do, because the chest didn't support it. And most of the time, now we get to your question, which is, what do we do with the pelvis? Like it drops and swivels, blah, blah, blah. That's all well and good, but if we can't see the rest of the system, then it doesn't really make sense. Okay, so let's say that I'm up here about halfway back, roughly P3. Okay, and while I'm explaining this, what I would suggest that you guys do, I just posted him this morning. He's one of my favorite golf swings that we coach. His name is Daniel. You'll see him from face on. Daniel does a wonderful job while the lead arm is finishing. You'll see him start to drop, and the drop almost looks like he's putting pressure right down his lead leg, like on this 5-degree slope. So we're not saying get left. We're saying get down and put pressure down this lead leg here as the arms are working to the top. So this is the pelvic drop. Next, the pelvic swivel. The reason that we want the pelvis to swivel is so that I have room to move my chest forward. Basic human balance is the pelvis and the rib cage moving in opposition of one another. Like if I shove my pelvis forward, look at where my rib cage goes, look at where my head goes. I look like a freaking dork right here, but I'm not gonna fall. I'm balanced, right? I have almost equal pressure in each foot. If I go the other way, I'm balanced, okay? From more of this kind of a perspective, if I push the pelvis back, look at where the rib cage goes, it goes forward. I'm balanced, right? And opposition this way. So in essence, if we shove the pelvis forward and rotate it, what does the rib cage have to do? Tilts back, bottom out problems. Pressure, there's the drop. So from 3 to 4 is kind of our preference in pelvic drop. Next, if I swivel the pelvis in this manner, what am I going to do with the rib cage? And what we see where people mess this up is they go, oh, the pelvis needs to move back. And for whatever friggin' reason, I don't know why people do this, but as the pelvis moves back, they go, oh, the rib cage should move back too. And now I'm whack. So even though I look like this in transition, I have zero pressure here and I've swiveled here, I'm still going to whack it out through the hit, because I'm going to shove this back up forward to give myself some kind of a chance with the bottom out and roll the arms over. So what I'm getting at is most likely, even though you are pelvic swiveling, you're probably here so that I can get this forward to keep pressure up there, and the center of mass of my rib cage really is going to dictate where the bottom out is. And I need that bottom out to be up here. So what do I need to do with my trunk? So as I shoot the arms, boom, it bottoms out appropriately. Here, There's the drop. Swivel as I'm swiveling. Watch where my rib cage goes. This is what we see out of Daniel, the young man that I just mentioned. See how it gets up here? Dude. Now if I send the arms, down, 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 ball, down, down, bottom out. See this match? That's the look. Here, drop, swivel. The reason I'm swiveling is so that my rib cage can move forward. Now I've got it. I'm in delivery here. Look at my trunk. I look in here. So now I can just turn and shoot this thing, and I'm frickin' dimed out. So hopefully that paints a larger scope, bigger picture on why we like to see most players swivel the pelvis fairly heavily. And a lot of the videos that we post, like especially from posterior view, we'll have kids or students perform this at like slower speeds, and you'll see this massive like sacrum move when this happens. So if I go up here, drop, see where these two belt loops are? When I swivel, whoa, see how far away they went? And look at where my head goes. Boom, forward, boom, forward. Now I'm able to go ahead and fire the arms, and I'm all balanced out in there. So there's our start off.
Woo!
Set the tone for the day, Jack.
Yes, start.
There's the golf swing. Great question.
I think we can keep going with that. And Charles in the chat, as always, great stuff, Ryland Jackson. My question is regarding pelvic drop with the driver. Watching Minwoo Lee and Keaton, how do you pronounce Keaton's last name?
Keaton and Villette?
Villette?
Yeah.
It
Nice.
looks like they
Or
skipped.
Canadian gay.
Oh, yes. It looks like they skipped the drop right into pelvic swivel.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the cool thing about this is it almost happens. It almost happens together, and they're so seamless with it. Charles is who asked this.
Yes.
They're so seamless with it, Charles, that and this is what we want at the end of the day, is the golf swing doesn't look like it's like clunking through this move and then this move and then this move, even though that is what is happening. Like there is sequence to movement. It doesn't all happen at one time. But each move is so buffed off to the next one that it's seamless. And so we see this like fluidity and move, right? Like anytime, like if you go to the PGA Championship and you're sitting in the grandstands watching the driving range, the same damn murmur goes through everybody watching. Oh God, they just swing it so easy and the ball just rockets. So what we're seeing is rhythm, tensegrity, which is just the regulation of tension throughout the course of any athletic move or just any movement in general. We're seeing that. So when you look at Keaton swings it beautifully. I mean, one of the biggest things that Keaton and I work on all the time is like his ability to stay internally rotated, which keeps him dropped. So he doesn't frickin' like slide his pelvis out and get whacked out and has to late tilt, blah, 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 gets whacked down at the bottom. So, and this is a Luke Brachyism too. This is kind of cool. And this is like the difference between drawers of the ball and faders of the ball. So let's take a look at Rory versus Hovland in the drop, because they both drop heavily in the pelvis. Their pivots are different forward, so we're not looking at that. We're just looking at the pelvic drop. What Rory does is, as he continues to turn here in the backswing, in the away swing, and by the way, this is probably my preference because you can kind of do anything with this, but as his chest continues to motor, so spiral line tissue continues to drive, blah, 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 okay, he'll continue to drive here as he drops. So I'm dropping here, I'm squeezing here as I'm dropping. So what this allows the player to do is it continues to move the golf club deeper in space. So you see how like this is appropriate depth, by the way. I'm not trying to like rake the arms back here in order to create depth. I'm just continuing to turn my chest as I drop, as I complete. This is Rory drop. Hovland drop, he gets up here, and as he drops, he starts to rotate the other way. Whoa. So we see this. So drop, but he's starting to rotate forward. Okay, what does that do to the handle? Out. So the handle easily moves out here. So now as I go ahead and hit from here, this is overdone by the way, but get the picture. From right here, if I fire the arms, what's the path? Pull cut. What's the shot that Hovland easily hits? Pull cut. What's the shot that Rory hits? Turn drop. See how much deeper? Look at where the handle is here.
Massive draw.
Massive, easy draw from here, right? So as he fires, plus he's more of a lead hit pivot kind of a guy, much easier to hit a draw there. So the nice thing is if you're overcutting it or feeling like late through the hit you have to tilt to late shallow the club out, I'd drop some Rory into your system. If you're overdrawing it, well, shoot, let's drop a little bit of Hovland into your system because it's easy to keep the golf club up on top of the plane there. But as you fire it, you can start it out this left window. Which one's better?
Both.
I don't know. Like, if you like drawing it, you probably prefer Rory. If you like cutting it, then you probably prefer Hovland. Everybody has preferences. Our job is to better understand like what the player needs and drip the appropriate movement at the appropriate time into their mapping so that they hit better golf shots. But that's the drop, right? Like when we're seeing that out of like Min Woo or Keaton, I mean, both of them just drop and swivel so seamlessly it almost looks like it happens at the same time, but it's more like what kind of pelvic drop you want based on what you need as the athlete.
Yes, sir.
Nath question, that was really good.
Who want? Carl Steelman, he just says, "Hi fellas, thanks for all you do and the information you provide."
Carl, I love you. This is why we do this.
Yes, sir.
I mean, in all honesty, we have such a fun time doing this.
Oh, it's a blast.
That, I mean, honestly, Mr. Steelman, which is the coolest name ever. If it was just you watching, we'd still do it because it's just so fun. It's awesome helping you guys. So I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
Eugene, hi, love the psycho shallow, psycho steep move. Do you mind expounding the psycho deep part?
Psycho, and we love you psychos.
Yes.
Psychos, baby. So it's funny because, and I think this was like last week we were talking about this. So. Like this looks like psycho steep, like I'm gonna just shove it in the ground right there, and this is like psycho shallow, like I'm gonna move it there. So I would just, man, dude, to make this a heck of a lot simpler for you. I mean, if you're gonna do all the psycho stuff, you're gonna do it at lower energies and lower speeds, because one of the things that does happen is the harder you're turning, and at the end of the day, if you're going at it harder, you turn harder. So what does the club do? It shoots out harder. So the forward swing, and it's a funny title on this actually, but we have a video on our YouTube. I think it's like "Stop Slicing Your Driver," something funny, but it's. The video is talking about the two forces in the club in the forward swing, and one of the forces is this negative alpha force or coronal plane force. So my coronal plane is here, right? Like if I'm standing towards this wall or this TV, my shoulder axis is pointing right towards the camera. This is my coronal plane. If I had a glass sheet that just went and just cut me right in half from this perspective, it cuts me in half from my anterior space to my posterior space. So in essence, what I'm saying is that the club head is just running down that coronal plane. So this is a coronal plane active force. If we want to get fancy, we can also call it negative alpha force. It's a traditional, like, ooh, it's shallowing type of an act. It's just a coronal plane force. We're just moving it this way. So if I turn, boom, now my coronal plane points right towards the camera and right towards the screen behind me. So if I'm moving this club parallel with that plane, that's a coronal plane or negative alpha force that I'm putting into it. This doesn't make any sense on its own, does it? I mean, number one, I'd freaking bottom out back here. The club face still points away from the target. I want that damn thing to point that way. I got problems if I'm just doing this. So what also pairs with this is what's called angular momentum or angular force. So this is super easy to show. The shaft is pointing straight down right now. Okay, gravity's taken hold. As soon as I start to turn, boom, that club just shot out of me perpendicular to my trunk. My trunk straight up and down, It's right here. Think of tetherball. If I go up and grab that ball and throw it, what does it do? It doesn't just stay down here. It goes out and around that tetherball pole. So in the golf swing, obviously my trunk is more pitched forward because of this hip flexion. So I just took the tetherball pole and went boom. So the tetherball is going to want to swing around me this way. Okay, and that is based on, primarily, we want that to be based on my ability to rotate here. So here's the forward swing. The forward swing, when it comes to the golf club, from just a general mapping standpoint, we want both of those acts to happen simultaneously. So if I'm actively sending the club down my coronal plane while I'm actively turning my chest, I'm going to look that way. Now, notice how I didn't turn very hard. So the handle is still out in front of me, but the club head is still over here on my trail side. But I just managed a couple things. One, my chest points towards the target, so does the club face. So this is what controls the club face at the hit. If I didn't turn at all and I did this, the club face is still pointing away from the target. So I'm adding 180 degrees of rotation to make that thing point towards the target. Does that actually happen? Like, are we going to see this at the strike? No. Why? Because of angular force. If I move this here, coronal, as I turn, look at where it went. Didn't it just shoot out? It's not over here anymore. It's here. And look at how gentle that was. All I did was go together. Look where the club went. It goes. So what if I do that harder? This harder and this harder? Now all of a sudden we have a forward swing. We're here, there. That golf club isn't still on my trail side. It shoots out because I have this. Whoosh. See this? There's the turn. All I'm doing is going coronal and chest rotation forward, and that's the hit. Boom. See? It's the combo of that that's the like really, really important thing in the forward swing.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Psycho mode.
I know we don't normally go to Instagram, but I thought you would love this one.
Love it.
From Caden Ryan. Riley, question. Playing AZ Championship at Biltmore this weekend, only 6,000 yards. Do you think we just send driver?
Caden Ryan. Caden Ryan.
Because this is how you play golf.
Okay, so you listen to me. You're one of my favorite people on earth. I love you so much. Number one thing that I would love you, because I know you are so talented and you're working with one of the best coaches in the world down there in Luke Brackey, and you're on the best team on earth because I support you, Luke supports you, Jackson supports you, you're part of this frickin' clan. So, number one thing, before we even get to that, I want you to understand that you are one of the best players in Arizona and you should conduct yourself as such. Number one. Now, it's not an arrogance thing. It's just a factual thing, right? Like, there's a reason that Jordan got to conduct himself as the best player in the NBA. It's because he earned it. You've earned an incredible golf swing. You're incredibly talented. You're an incredibly talented athlete. Blah, 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 blah. Now, here's how you should view driving the golf ball, in my opinion, okay? If you're going to hit driver, you don't need to hit it in the fairway. If you're going to hit driver, you do not need to hit it in the fairway. You need to hit the golf ball in play, period. If you hit it in the rough, especially this time of year down there, dude, like, what advantage do you have in the fairway compared to a rough lie, as long as there's not like a tree in your way? There's zero difference. Like, you're not playing Oakmont. The rough's not this high. Like, it's an easy shot. And just if you look at tour averages as well, bud, if you have 100 yards from the rough, you're going to beat the shit out of guys that have 140 yards in the fairway. It's just how the stats line out. There is no sense in hitting anything other than driver pretty much on any hole unless there is one or two like obstacles. One is you don't have room to do it. Like you either out of bounds and out of bounds, or penalty area and penalty area are tight enough that, dude, you need to hit an iron off the box to get it in play, just because the golf ball's in air for so long, and if it curves now, like when it actually lands, it's out of play compared to a curving shot that doesn't go as far. Or you like run into like a creek or something that crosses the fairway and you have to lay it short of that. So that's number one, is just looking at obstacles like penalty areas. And if you have enough room on one side or the other to just send it, you send it. The only other would be, let's say we have 340-yard par 4. The pin is located right in the front of the green and is protected by a bunker in front. If you send driver and hit it 300 yards in the middle of the fairway, you have a 40-yard pitch that sometimes, if the greens are firm enough, especially in Arizona this time of year, that you land it next to the hole, even if it's revving a ton, it's not gonna stop there, because you can't spin it hard enough from 40 yards, and its descent angle, because it's a 40-yard shot, it's not getting up here and descending this way, it's going boom. So it hits and skids. You can't get it close to the hole. Like the best you're gonna do is like 30 feet. So you might hit it 240 off the box on this particular case, because now you have a 100-yard wedge, and if you hit it 10 feet behind the hole, it stops right there, and you have a 10-footer on a good shot, compared to I hit a great shot from 40 yards and I have 30 feet at best. So that's the only reason that you are not to hit driver. So if it passes those two tests, you're friggin' sending driver, dude, on every single hole. I don't care if it's Biltmore or if you're playing frickin' Oakmont, you're hitting driver every single hole. And that's how professionals play the game. That's how you should play the game. Great question. Great to hear from you, young man. Love you tons.
I saw an interesting stat yesterday of tour pros, speaking of like those 40-yarders. Tour pros from 30 yards and in, up and down percentage is like 86%. 30 to 50 yards is 33. It's like 33 still like freaking good.
Are these all lies, like rough lies and fairway lies?
Didn't specify.
Okay.
It just said from 30 yards and in, they're 86%, and 30 to 50, they're 33. And I was like, holy crap, what a... It
Crazy.
seems like this massive disparity.
Yep.
But 30 to 50 is, like you were just mentioning, you can't get the spin on it to stop it.
Exactly. You can't quite do it. It's harder. And other interesting thing, from 100 yards, which is like a stock, some kind of wedge for most guys, like 100 yards middle of fairway, PGA Tour player gets the golf ball up and down 1 out of 5 times. They're 20%.
Oh my God.
Because they hit it to 16 feet on average, 16 or 17 feet on average. And then you just do the math. Like how many putts from 16 or 17 feet do they make? Like if they have 5 attempts, they make 1 of them. So there's your math. Like hitting it to 15, 16, 17 feet, by the way, from 100 yards is pretty darn good. But we always think like, oh gosh, it's a tour player from 100 yards out there holing it half the time. No, they don't. They don't hit it that close. They hit it really nice and they have an opportunity, but they average 2.81 from 100 yards. Middle of fairway, by the way. Rough, different deal.
Plus, they're so good at leaving themselves good spots.
Yep.
They're not always flag hunting.
Yep.
All right. Niles. This is a long one. Bear with me.
Okay. Awesome.
How does the AB adduction of the arms across the chest hit combine with the right elbow under the left active hit / shallowing move? Both of these moves, either alone or combined together, produce 0 power / efficiency for me compared to my old throwy, tumbling the club style of release. It's the only thing holding me back from having a rotational or hitting style swing. There's no whip in my swing when I experiment with these feels.
Yeah, that's a great question, man, and I'm so happy that you said that. Okay, so at the end of the day, like, and I think we described it in a similar way, maybe in one of these lives, but shoulders and freaking hips, I hate in a way. Like,
Same.
I'm happy we're designed that we are, because we can. It's easy to grab stuff on the shelf no matter where it is, right? I don't have to go, okay, boom, because it's a hinge joint. Like this has one option. So sorry, it makes it really easy. Like you go this way with it, you're in a world of hurt.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So this is super simple. This is super complex because we can elevate and lower work across, okay, and do this stuff with it, and any combo of that stuff as well. So movement in the shoulder is incredibly hard to articulate from a scientific standpoint because, man, you're trying to hold on to like 3 different concepts at one time. Okay, so when I'm saying ABAD hit, we're leaning more into that. There's not one person on earth that only hits ABAD. Like, it ain't gonna happen. You're gonna have some amount of lowering. Like in the hit, we're gonna have some amount of lowering. We're gonna have some amount of AB, if we just take a look at this like lead arm, and eventually we're gonna have some amount of external. It just happens to be like, how much of that are we experiencing? And most folks that we see, most, not all, but most folks have tons of lateral pelvic rotation here. And so they won't have very much AB because this doesn't map. What they'll do is lower and externally rotate early and late AB. This just came off my chest. So obviously there's abduction for that humerus to be over here, move over here, or move like into my lead side at all. So every single player on earth has those 3 elements: abduction, external rotation, and shoulder extension, lowering of the arm in their golf swing. And so if we just, this doesn't actually happen, but just to like easily see this, if I had 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 lower, 1/3 AB, 1/3 external, I'd be balanced in general. Now, if you drop and stay dropped as you turn here, you're gonna want to advocate for more abduction and even in transition more internal rotation so I keep the golf club deep enough here so now I can hit this way as I'm turning. As you turn, the golf club, I mean, we need that son of a gun to shoot out of there. And so what I would suggest that you do, just from like kind of switching gears here a little bit, to move more towards like an athletic lens in this. Let's say that I have, and I love this map because usually if you have like half a frickin' strand of athletic DNA in your system, like you'll be able to get this fairly quickly. If I had a sledgehammer here, okay, and I had a brick wall that was right on my outstep of this lead foot, okay, brick wall's right here, so it'd be perpendicular to where the target would be, and I have all these different layers of bricks. Let's say I had brick layers right here, like right at rib level, and I'm holding that sledgehammer here. I would never go work the pelvis this way and roll it to hit it. Like, dude, that ain't gonna work. Like, sledge, or an axe, What we would always see is somebody that, from like almost an unconscious level, you're gonna like level the tool out and then send the tool out. We're gonna hit that way. See this dynamic in the transition and then in the hit. So I'm getting it in here so that now I can send that club head out. And just like we were talking about with angular force can be thought of in 2 different ways depending on the player and what they need. If I'm a player that likes to like throw the club and tumble it and pin this back and hit it this way, I'm probably gonna have more success with like feeling as if this goes and the club shoots in response. So the chest more or less slings the arms, slings the club. If I'm a player that needs earlier hit, which it sounds like you do, you can take that tether ball, the club head, and actively frickin' send it. So once I'm in here, dude, see how this goes? Like I'm taking that sledgehammer head and going boom and hitting. I'd never like level it and go no to hit. This is where your power is lacking. I'm just smelling it on you. We need to send the club head earlier and actively. Like again, the whole reason for moving the pelvis in a certain way is to support the chest. The chest then supports the active hit in the arms, hands, and club. You're actively sending it here. So I do a lot of these where, I mean, this could be like a really cool drill to just like sense this more, is if you set up to the golf ball, split grip it, and then hold it right here like it's you're gonna hit these bricks right out in front of you. Okay, so if I went right here and went hit, Now every one of these, just lower the brick line down more. Look at what I'm like very easily doing here is pivoting, wrong word. Better word would be I'm actively dropping and lowering here. So I'm dropping the pelvis. This line here gets more and more acute. That gets my chest down to where the golf ball is, and I can get to that bottom brick now. If I'm here, I can get that brick and that brick and that brick. But see the pelvis? Drop more hinge, boom, and go hit it. I almost guarantee you what you used to do to be able to gain your speed is you would actively take the pelvis, move it forward, and rotate it here. And as you do that, you lower the arms and sling the club out. So I can hit it hard that way because I'm still sending the club head. So by no means am I advocating that when you drop and move the club in here and now you A-B hit that you keep all this energy in there and you don't send the club. We still need the energy to get out of the tool. You can send it hard. You just need to organize in general in here so that now you can fire that thing out of you and you can hit it just as hard. Like if you look at Min Woo, he does all the stuff that I really prefer because it's super healthy, it's super stable, and it's super speedy. 190 plus ball speed when he wants it. And you look at like a DeChambeau type of a player, loads of extension, loads of throw, still creates great ball speed. So you can create speed in both maps. You just need to know how to. Send that daggum tether ball, fire it out of there, and you'll be just fine. Good question.
All right, we got a couple putting questions here.
Ooh.
First one coming, well, kind of. It's kind of a split question. Daniel.
Okay.
Watching your swing on the site, if you came to yourself for a lesson, what would you be working on in your swing? Oh. And then second part of that, can you review or expand on use of hands in the putting stroke?
Yeah, okay, great. So number one, I feel like every freaking golfer on earth, I look at my golf swing and I just barf everywhere. I hate it so much because I do like in my unconscious, the way that I try to allocate speed is the stuff that I freaking advocate not to do. Like this likes to like hike and work in here and I'll tumble it out of there, especially when I'm hitting driver. It drives me up a wall. So if I were really, really training, I mean, when I hit it my best, I'll tell you what, guys, like the thing that I feel is so much internal. I swear to goodness, I feel like the club is going to hit me right in the back ankle. So tons of internal here, loads of supination here, boom, to get like, I feel like I'm there. I'm trying to get this under that as early as I can. There's one young man that's in the academy that has similar tendencies to me. His name is Ryan Dooms. Great player, great athlete. And so you'll see me working with Ryan. Sometimes I'll run up and grab his club and go, Ryan, damn it, get that freaking thing down here. And then I get roasted on Instagram. It's hilarious. So I'll make that happen. And this is like, again, massive coronal plane like release. What I tend to do is send that thing out of there so early. I need to lean into this space way more and stay dropped and turn way more. When I'm hitting it well, I do that stuff better. But man, I'll tell you what, I mean, I wish I looked like frickin' Min Woo or Hovland. I sure lean into that space a hell of a lot, but you still see it. I mean, you can slow down my swing on X Factor, and you know, obviously from the face on, you'll see how much my chest and my head like to work away this way to fight off shallowing because this is moving up and forward so much, and then I tumble it out of there. There's days it's pretty gross, and there's days that I can manage it a heck of a lot better. I'm like anybody else, you know. But if I were really, really training on my game, which I don't do anymore, and I probably should do more, you know, if I'm working on it, you know, 2 or 3 hours a day, I'd just do so much mapping of the supination, this internal, my pelvis staying behind me, my chest getting forward, because the more that I go, like we were talking about earlier, psycho mode, the better my bottom out, the better my arm structure gets, the more my like intuition as an athlete takes over and I can hit it harder too because I know I have the bottom. and plus I don't hurt after moving in that manner. So I can hit golf balls, you know, when I actually do, for like 2 hours, and I'm not hurting afterwards. Whereas if I go into my pattern that is just freaking in that old myelin pathway, dude, I hit golf balls for like 45 minutes. I'm like, I can feel how much I'm working, and body responds to that, and I don't feel as well, and friggin' the golf ball goes all over the place, and it's miserable. So that's what I work on in my full swing. When it comes to putting, was the next one more about like the hands in putting?
Yeah, can you review or expand on use of hands in the putting stroke?
Yeah, great. So in general, like let's view the putter, like instead of a putter, let's just view this as a hammer. Let's say I have like a piece of wood right here and a nail sitting right there, and I want to hammer that thing in. I would never go just rock the shoulders to hit the thing, right? Which is what we hear in putting stroke all the time. Grip it and rock the shoulders. Worst map ever. Okay, because you lose all dexterity, so you don't have any idea how much pressure you're putting onto an object, nail or golf ball or anything, as well as precision is in space. So you'll hit, like even in the strike and putting, you'll hit it all over the frickin' face. So now it's really tough to control the strike. Plus, you lose the dexterity of the hit. So if I've got, let's say, a pillar right here, okay, and a sledgehammer, and I wanted to hit this into the ground, what would I do? Boom. So notice how I'm loading it using all these joints are just pivot points, right? This is a pivot point, this is a pivot point, this is a pivot point. And at the end of the day, to some degree, to pound this into the ground, I'm going to use, boom, all of that, right? Like if I'm right here going, I'm going to hit, see how much boom, I'm loaded, and then I'm going to unload. There's the hit. So I can feel how much pressure I would want to put on an object because of that. If I have a little teeny nail and a soft piece of wood, I'm not going to like rip it. I'm not going to go big load and slow it down. Okay. And at the same time, if I have this big pylon I'm trying to hit into the ground, I'm not going to go like little load and push it. It doesn't make any sense. So instead of the nail being vertical, we'd almost put this nail this way, target line. Okay. And if I had the nail, keep getting rid of this, I need it. So if I have this quote unquote hammerhead pointing that way towards the nail, how much pressure do I need to put on the nail? So how far would this putt go? 7 feet? I don't know. How far would this putt go? More, right? That's a 25, 30 footer. The point being is this, like how much hands do you use in the putting stroke? Some. How much shoulder do I use in the putting stroke? Some. I generally tend to try to keep players out of this idea of rotating in here, because the more I get closer to proximal stuff, the further away from using my hands in the stroke that I get. And my experience just watching the best putters on earth, there's quite a bit more hand action in their stroke than most others. Like, it's funny, like talking even about DeChambeau, like he has developed, he's a great putter, world-class putter. It's very unorthodox, which he's kind of unorthodox in general.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool how he thinks and how he goes about his game. Truthfully, I'm a massive DeChambeau fan. Like, I really like what he's doing for the game. And it's super interesting to watch how he goes about his technique. I mean, it's fascinating. I mean, he's got convex club faces in his irons. All of his irons are the same length.
Yep.
He's got these massive jumbo grips. I mean, dude is an interesting homie, right? Very unconventional, kind of one of one. And then but the big thing is here is like when you look at the majority of great putters in history, Ben Crenshaw, Fowler, Woods, I mean, Lauren Roberts, Brad Faxon, like if you look at their stroke, and we can measure this stuff now, how much like extension and flexion in the wrist happens through their stroke, there's a lot of extension and flexion. And it's relative to how big the actual swing is. Obviously, we're not like loading crazy in a putting stroke. I mean, we're hitting these like shorter putting or shorter strokes right here, less energy, so we don't need a ton of load in this. However, at the end of the day, if I allocate some of that, like see how it almost looks like the shaft rubberizes? Ugh. It's floppy in here. Like if I overdo one, it's almost like I'm taking the grip and I'm moving the grip first away and then forward. See that? Like the grip goes away, club head follows, grip goes forward, club head follows. Like that's the putting stroke that I prefer most to see. Can you overdo this? Sure. But can you underdo it and rock the shoulders? This is what I see all the time. Is like, how many putting strokes do you see where the head's working back? It's because the way that they shove the putter forward is they right lateral bend to shove the putter forward. This is not efficient, guys. Like, that is not how this works. In essence, we have a pivot point here and we have a pivot point there. This is a pivot point. This is a pivot point. If I swing the putter this way, look how simple that system looks. So the lead arm's just kind of on. I like this to be the pivot point, by the way, not this one, because if I go pivot point here, see how much of a block that is? Okay, this is blocking. This is swinging. See how that shaft points back up into me? So the lead hand would just almost be tranquilized on, and the right arm, right hand are swinging the whole instrument the entire time. That's a relatively good map to start with when it comes to like this global look at how to swing the putter, because you gain the dexterity and the sensation of the strike, which at the end of the day, you have got to develop that. I mean, loads of touches. You can have a great putting stroke, but if I make a great stroke, we're like, oh, it looks perfect, and you hit it 15 feet and the hole's 7 feet away from you, that didn't do you any good because you can't control the pressure on the ball. So it still touches, but when you have like a better idea as to like how this works and what it's going to do for you from like a sensory standpoint, it'll help you tremendously with being able to hoop more putts, control pace, you'll green read better, like everything falls into place, or at least has an opportunity to. Fingerprint, I see.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Going off of that, we'll do another little putting question.
Cool. Ooh.
Nice. Should be pretty simple. Anthony Angotti, what do you believe is the key constants in the putting setup that results in a consistent stroke?
That's a great question. So most of putting, by the way, I do not feel this way in full swing whatsoever. Like, we talk about this as a group all the time, us coaches. Mm-hmm. Like, what is like every single person on earth does this in their setup. There's one thing. They hold it at the grip.
Pretty much.
Like Trevino aims left, Mediate aims right, Fitzpatrick, massive internal super strong grip. Morikawa's right here. The handle in some players is back. The handle in some players is here. Some guys sit up with their head forward. Other guys sit up with their head back. Some guys have tilt. So what is gospel in setup? Absolutely frickin' nothing other than hold it by the grip, please. Not this way. You're going to have a lot more success.
A little bit more.
So, all right. And this, say the question again.
What do you believe is the key
Okay.
constants?
Putting is the opposite of that, because, and the reason that we see this is in the full swing. I mean, how far does the dadgum club move in space from address to impact? Club moves, I don't know, 25 feet. Mm-hmm. a long ass ways, right? In a putting stroke, if I have a 50-footer, the putter moves, I don't know, 3 feet away and 3 feet here, so 6 feet. So, and that's on a 50-foot putt. Whoa, boom, right? A 5-footer, it's right in here. Good grief, if you set up poorly, you do not have the time to make up for that. Whereas in the setup, you do. I mean, the club could be hooded like a mother trucker, and I go, whoomp, and square it. The club could be wide open right here, whoomp, and square it. Like, you have all this time to make up for that. It's fine, right? In putting, I mean, if you set up with the putter like 5 degrees closed, you got to make up for that in not very much time. 5 degrees open, I guess is what that was when I was showing it. So the whole point is like, man, everything we do in setup is so vitally important to be able to like manage like what we need to manage in the stroke. And in putting, there's 3 variables we got to check off. Number one, can you roll the golf ball? So it doesn't skid, you're not shoving it in the ground, it's not backspinning, it's not hooking, cutting, it's like right over, head over tea kettle right off the bat. And ideally we get the golf ball slightly airborne, but slightly top end, working over the bottom end, so when it hits, it just keeps on going for multiple different reasons. So can I roll it? Number two, can I get the golf ball started off on my intended line? And then number three, can I get the golf ball rolling the distance that I want it to roll? In general, pretty much everything in pace. Outside of 20 feet, just the distance of the hole would be really good, just in general mapping. So the nice thing is the first two variables you can just check off just in your setup. So just to buzz through these on X Factor, our whole putting masterclass goes through these variables in massive detail so that you really understand the dynamic that's going on here. But in setup here for rolling the golf ball, I want the golf ball 2 inches in front of sternum. Reason for that is we want the golf club to bottom out right underneath my sternum and then rise. So it's ascending into the golf ball. But then at the same time, for most putters, depends on the loft that you have, but most putters, I would like to see the grip of the golf club right over the top of the golf ball from this face-on perspective. And the whole reason for this, let's say that I have an ascent of 2 degrees. The golf club is ascending 2 degrees into the golf ball. Most putters have about 2.5 to 4.5 degrees aloft. Let's just say, just for the sake of argument here, that the putter, like easy math here, that the putter has 2 degrees aloft, and then I lean it 2 degrees forward. Now it has 0 degrees of loft. So the dynamic, and this is spin loft for putting, the dynamic is I'm hitting up on the golf ball at the strike, which if I hit up, does it make the golf ball launch higher or lower if I hit up on it? It makes it launch higher. Like this whole notion of you hit down to make it go up is the stupidest thing ever. You hit down to make it go down, period. That's the physics of it. So if I have an ascend of 2 degrees and a 0 degree launch or 0 degree face at the start or at the moment of the strike, that golf ball is going to launch to some degree upward and topspin, which is exactly what we want the ball to do. Get airborne and tumble. So if I just set it up, if I have 2 degrees aloft on the putter, 2 degrees forward, putter's up, and I'm ascending on it, I'm going to roll the golf ball, period. Number two, line. When you're holding it, I'd love to see it, and we'll just buzz through this because it's all on the master class. If I'm holding it in the fingers and I use the hands, see how much more the golf club opens and closes? If I have it more in the lifeline and I swing it here, the golf club doesn't open and close as much, and it gets the shaft a lot taller here at the address position. And the taller the putter gets, the more, if I just swing it, see how the face just stays square to the target here? The more it's leveled out, like if it's 90 degrees, see how much it's opened and how much it's closed there. So the more that I'm able to get the shaft taller here and in the lifelines, the more that the putter's not going to open and close as much, so it's easier to keep it on the target line. Like the path is tighter to the target for longer rather than opening and closing. So it's easier to get it on the target there. And finally, right in here in my sternum, I'd like this to collapse a bit more so I have way more flexion in my T, definitely even in my C spine here, so I'm up over it, and sternum, and then out my spine. That portion of my spine and the shaft are almost perpendicular to one another. So even if I swing the putter with more swing in the hands and in the arms, see how I did rotate to some degree? The rotation is going to be perpendicular to the shaft angle, so it's very easy to keep the face square to the path. And in putting, we want the face square to the path the entire time. There's never a tumble out with putting. So if I'm taller and in here and the shaft is down, that doesn't match. So it's really hard to get that thing down my intended line. So if I'm in here more, lifeline grip, boom, putter, and I'm set up to roll that golf ball, I've got roll and intended line checked off just in my setup. There's more to it than this, but this is like the big global stuff here. If I do that, I'm going to get the golf ball rolling down my intended line. The final check off is, can I control the pressure on the ball to control speed? So if I roll it, down my intended line, the proper pace, homie G, I'm a good putter. Because you're going to hit a lot of putts that at least have an opportunity to go in, and some of them will end up disappearing.
Yes.
So, yay.
Into the bottom of the hole.
Awesome. All right, we got time for one quick one.
All right, let's see. Okay, this would be a good one. Dean, love your content. Curious whether the left wrist at impact should essentially match the grip at address, but nearer to the target, or should it be flatter than at address, strong left-hand grip?
Yeah. So the dynamic of this, I think this is a good way to view this, Dean, is at impact. Any player that's worth a darn at all, the club head is going to be to the trail side of the player when it comes to this chest rotation. So I'm just going to stick this straight out perpendicular to my coronal plane. Okay, so the big thing to see here is if I'm opening and rotating here through the hit and the club's back behind me and I turn and I look like this, see how the handle is still out in front of me. It's right here, okay, right out in front of me, but the club head is still going to be on the right side. Okay, you'll see that out of every single good player on earth. There is plane is here, and I've hit the golf ball this way, not one. They're all open. Now, it's an optical illusion because if I've turned here and I have a ton of right side bend, see how now this is really, really tall here? So players that have a ton of lateral bend here or here, this is bad news bears this way because you'll hurt yourself. That's Zalatoris move, right? And I love him. I just hope he can get like recovered well and back. So point is like, where is my sternum pointing right here? It's out here. So the club, even if my hands are out in front here, the club head is going to be on the right side at P7. So I'm still going to have some amount of extension here. If I have extension here, I'm absolutely going to have flexion here. So we'll read this at the strike. However, I don't think you need that map. Like, I'm going to bow this at the strike because you're just trapping energy back in. We want the club to shoot out. But if you're dropping and turning here really well and you're actively trying to shoot, that golf club, like by now, see how P7.5-ish is all lined up now. So my sternum and perpendicular to my coronal plane here, the handle and the club head are right back out in front of me, but it's not here. It's there. It's progressively unloading. And so what's kind of interesting, and this was just with driver, but Johnny Miller used to brag about how his club speed, his club head speed was faster after the golf ball, and nobody else did that. Well, the reason that his club head speed was faster out of the golf ball or post impact is because it's in the process of unloaded. So where's it going to be that's fastest? The club head is its fastest post-strike with a lot of really high-level players. Now, it's interesting because that's mostly with driver we'll see that, because with irons, you're running it into the ground and the ground's going to slow it down. So you don't see that with irons like you would with driver. Also, even though the golf ball is super light, I'm still hitting that. And I'm transmitting some amount of energy from me and the club into the golf ball, and it slows that down. So the golf ball is going to take a lot of that energy and end up slowing the club down. But it's kind of interesting that that does happen. It's just, you know, reading those numbers sometimes can like actually fog up the bigger picture. And that's why we like exercises like front loader, because you're in the process of unloading. It becomes really dynamic in here. And you can play around with all kinds of different front loaders. Like if I'm set up to the golf ball, I go drop the booty and turn my chest. So that club's already on my right side. Now if I turn a little bit in my chest and I unload in the hands, boom, now I'm at P7.5, that's where I'm unloading, away, right back to that unload. So see how the intention of unload is out here, or you could even play around with like a front loader that moves me all the way up into, boom, I've spiraled all the way up, handle and club head on the sagittal plane or perpendicular to the coronal plane, away, and right back there again. Good exercise too, because it moves you into a dynamic state of mind through the hit rather than a positional state of mind, which typically freezes folks. There's only really two positions in the golf swing. That's address and the finish. Everything else is dynamic. So keep it moving in your mind's eye. It'll help you because you'll be able to go play golf with that rather than piecing out and clunking out your golf swing. Okay,
Sir.
How about it?
Love it. If we didn't get to your question in the live chat, I am recording them and I will put them down. We will continue to get to those in the following weeks. We changing times next week?
Yeah, we will be changing times next week. We don't have it pinned down exactly yet. And we're doing that because our junior program in the summer, we put into the morning just so we've got more the cooler time of the day to work with our kids when they're on break. So we'll do something in the afternoon, but we'll keep you posted and make sure that you're aware of it. And myself and the X Factor team and Jackson, we will all be in good communication with you for that time. And even if you can't make that time, obviously these are always recorded. And if you ask questions post this live, that's great too. We log all of the questions and I try as hard as I can to get to every single one of them. So keep asking questions. If I can help you in any way or we can help you in any way, that's what we're doing this for. So thanks so much for tuning in. Love you all to death. Enjoy your week. Hit some great shots for us and looking forward to seeing you next week. Peace out.
Peace.